بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين أما بعد. Alhamdulillah, we have finished most of the chapters of fiqh, of ibadat, of worship. The only remaining topic now is fasting, and that's what we will take inshallah. Just before we move on to fasting, let's quickly revise some of the previous chapters. I'm not going to test you on salah and wudu right now. We'll revise that later just because of time. So firstly, Musa, who are the different people that he gives zakat to? Sorry? Yeah, okay. Okay. The what? That's a standard traveler. Mention those in there? Slaves, Muslim captives. Muslim captives. Good. Right. What are the different types of zakah? Zakat al-Fitr and Zakat al-Mal. Akram, what are the things that you give zakah in? Gold and silver and anything which takes the place of it? Yeah? Bahimatul An'am. What's Bahimatul An'am? Camels, cows and sheep, okay. Kharij min al-ard, what's that? Huh? Any fruit? What else? You mentioned 3 things, right? What else do you give zakah in? You said gold and silver, Bahimatul An'am, that comes to earth. Last thing, merchandise, buying and selling. Right. Which out of these 4 things do you not wait for a year to give zakah on? Yeah, you. Al-Kharij min al-ard, that which comes out of the earth. Good. Riyadh, if the earth is watered by itself, natural rain and stuff, but you also work on it as well, how much zakah do you give? 7.5%. Hamza, if I have 170 camels, what zakah do I give? $170. 3 بنت لبون وحقة. Yeah. Good. Okay. You guys okay with the calculations now? Yeah? No? Yusuf, I've got 100 cows. What zakah do I give? 100 cows? Yeah. Musanna, which is 40. Two the other one. Two tabir. Two tabir, okay. Right, let's go to Hajj. Hajj. Aman, what are different types of Hajj? What are the different types of Hajj? How many are there? How many different ways of doing Hajj? 3. Good. What are they? Without looking. Tamattu', yeah? Okay, how do you do tamattu'? Tamattu' is where you do Umrah, you come out of Ihram, and then you do Hajj separately. Qiran is the one where you don't come out of Ihram. What's the last one? Ifrad. And what's that? Hajj by yourself. Which one doesn't require you to sacrifice? What's the one that Ifrad? Good. Kabir, what are the pillars of Hajj? There's only 4 pillars. Haram is one. What about it? Yeah, being the Arafah is a pillar. Tawaf al-Ifada and Sa'i. Right, well, you mentioned with the obligations. Okay? Right, you mentioned obligations, we'll skip that. Mawaqit, right. Aman, name the 5 places where you make ihram from. 5 mawaqit. I think I asked you this question last time. Medina, it's called Al-Halifa. Huh? Okay, so give me the general places then. So Medina is called Al-Halifa, yeah. Yeah, for the people of Yemen, Yalamlam. Juhfa, Egypt and Sham and Morocco. ذات عرق, what's that for? Iraq, it's easy because it's called Ain and yeah. Qarn Manazil. People of Najd, people of Riyadh and so on. Okay. Which prohibition of ihram requires you to give something similar as an expiation? Al-Subhan. Killing an animal. Easy question. I'll ask you another one. Which one requires you to give fidya to other. Everything which isn't what? Marital relations. Killing. Get married. Nikah. Yeah. Okay, what's fidya to other? Yeah. What else? 3 days. Feeding 6 people, fasting 3 days, and sacrificing a sheep. Right. You do all 3 things? What do you do? Then what? Bob?
You don't do all 3 things.
Then what do you do?
First you do the first and
Akram. Musa. Now this one you can choose. Any of the 3. You can choose any of the 3. Right. During Hajj, what's the difference between التحلل الأول, the first تحلل, and the second تحلل? عبد السبحان. Give you a clue. تحلل from the halal, which is the opposite of ihram, haram. Okay. And what happens after تحلل الأول? What can you do? Everything apart from my relation. So you can you wear normal clothes? Yeah. And the second تحلل الثاني. Yusuf, what day is Yom Arafah? 9 the Hajj. Okay, what day is day of Eid? Been revising, have you? Ahmed, actually no, I'm asking. Day of Arafah. He just said it. I just told him. Ahmed, Arafah. 9. And Eid? 10. You guys need to revise, man. Wasn't here for this. I don't want to hear that. If you're not here, catch up. You haven't. Alright, you can catch it from the beginning, but the topic that we're doing, catch that one up first. So at least you understand what's going on in class. Right. Ranma, what are the actions on the day of Eid, or day of sacrifice? What do you do? Yeah. Akram. Kabirul. Actions of the day of Eid. Order. What's the order of these 4 things? Throw feathers first, then. You sacrifice. What's the word that I told you to memorize? Run, hat. Ra is for Rami, which is throw. And Noon, Nahar. Nahar means sacrifice. فصلي لربك وانحر. Surah Al-Kawthar. And then Ha for Halq, which means to shave. And then Ta is for Tawaf. You guys, man, you guys need revision. Anyone here can just stand up and summarize what to do every single day of Hajj. Right. Just explain to me how to do Hajj. Do this, then you do this, then you do this, then you do that, then you do that, this, that, and then Hajj is finished. It doesn't have to be the most detailed, just summarize the points. No one? That is you know what, I might even make this an exam question. Expect this as an exam question. I'm gonna say to you, mention how to do Hajj from A to Z. So you don't need to give me the technical rulings. What's an obligation? What's a pillar? You don't need to give me that. You just tell me what do you do. So you start off by saying, you prepare for ihram, you have a shower, you put perfume on your body, and so on. Then you go to the miqat, you pray 2 rak'at, you make your intention, you say talbiyah, you go to Makkah, you do umrah. Then if you do tamattu', you come out of ihram. Then you wait until the 8th day. Then what you do on the 8th day, what you do on 9, what you do on 10, what you do on 11, 12, 13, what you do on 14, what you do 15, what you do 16, what you do 17. You tell me all of that, yeah? Yeah? There's no Hajj in 16, 17. What are you saying yeah for? Hajj finishes 13. Right, all the way until the 13th. You guys are not being revising. Hamza, can you do that? Abdul Subhan? You can finish 12 or 13, yeah. You can write that in it, you can write that. If you can stay 12, you can. I actually prepared, I was like, you know what, let me try to finish all of fasting in one day. But it seems like it's too much for you guys, you're not revising in time. Right, all of you. 20 minutes. Revise Hajj. I'm going to test you guys in 20 minutes again. Revise the description of how to do Hajj. What time is it? It's 21st. You're right, 15 minutes at 35. I'm going to test you. Yeah. Hajj and Umrah. Right, okay. So I asked, are you guys ready? And you guys aren't ready. So for next lesson, make sure this is a question that you guys know and you're able to answer, inshallah. I'm definitely going to ask this question next lesson. So a few people, I might ask them to mention the whole thing. And a few people, I might just say, right, the 8th day, what do you do? And you tell me, all right, where does it start? Where does it finish? What you're doing on that day? So for example, if I say to you, the day of sacrifice, what do? You say, all right, there are 4 things that you do, and you can mention the 4 things, and but you have to mention, okay, where do you start the 10th day? Where are you? You're at Muzdalifah, so you got to mention that. You mention pray Fajr, make dua, and then just before sunrise, then you head off, and then you do the 4 things. So you got to mention all of that. So I might ask you just for a particular day, or I might ask you to do the whole thing, inshallah. But make sure you guys are ready for that. Okay, let's start the fiqh of fasting. So prepare that, and also whatever we're going to take today in fiqh of fasting. Okay. So it's in the book, it's page number 148. Yeah. All right. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Actually, before I start, there was a question. Somebody said, "What does it mean to shorten the prayers?" Whenever we say shorten the prayers, whether it's in Hajj or fiqh of salah, it means that all the salahs that were 4 raka'at, you pray them 2. That's what it means to shorten the prayer. So generally when you're traveling, let's say I've traveled to London, I've traveled abroad, you're allowed to shorten your prayers, meaning instead of praying 4, you pray 2. So those which are already 2, they stay 2. So Fajr stays 2. Maghrib also stays 3. But as for Dhuhr, Asr and Isha, then they are prayed 2. That's the meaning of shortening the prayers. If we say combining the prayers, then that means you combine Dhuhr with Asr. And you can combine, so Dhuhr time, let's just say Dhuhr time, just to make it easier, is from 1 o'clock till 5 o'clock. Yeah? And Asr time right now is 5 o'clock till 9 o'clock. Let's just say that's the time. I can pray Dhuhr and Asr any time from 1 o'clock till 9 o'clock, because that's the whole time for Dhuhr and Asr. If I pray in the Dhuhr time, I just make the intention that I'm combining in the earlier time. And if you're delaying it till the time of Asr, it's fine, but you have to make the intention from before that you're delaying Dhuhr until Asr time. You can't just be like, okay, I'm praying at the proper time, and then you end up missing the time, and then you say, oh, right, I'm praying it now. No, then you just miss the salah. But if you had the intention from before, like I'm traveling and I'll delay it and pray with Asr, then that is fine. And the same thing goes with Maghrib and Isha. You can pray in Maghrib time, or you can pray in Isha time. So this is known as combining the prayers, and this is allowed when you are traveling. You're allowed to combine and shorten when you are traveling. And there are specific rulings regarding it in the different days of Hajj, as we have taken. Obviously there's a lot more detail, which inshallah in the future books we will study the more details. Now,
for Zohar and Asr, if you combine them, would you just read 2 for both?
yeah. So let's say combining Dhuhr and Asr is pray 2, and then two for Dhuhr and then 2 for Asr, and that's it. Okay, let's move on to fiqh of fasting. The first thing we want to talk about, and there will be some extra writing here and there, okay? Most of it is written, but here and there might be some extra writing. Some of the extra points that I might mention, I've actually written out for you guys, and I'm going to send it in the group, inshallah, so that it's easier for you guys to follow, bismillah. But when I do that, I'll let you know. Right. By the way, there is a video on my channel titled Fiqh of Fasting by Sheikh Haytham Sarhan that I translated. The video itself is 30 minutes, but the actual Fiqh of Fasting is only 16 minutes. So the whole Fiqh of Fasting that we're going to take right now, Sheikh Haytham summarized it in 16 minutes. And those 16 minutes is split into the Sheikh speaking and me translating. So the reality is the Sheikh, he summarized the whole Fiqh of Fasting in 8 minutes. Okay, so that is a video that you guys can watch later, inshallah, as revision. Right, let's go through this. What's the first thing is, what's the meaning of fasting? Now, linguistically, the meaning of the word fasting, it means to withhold or to abstain, to stay away from something. Okay, and this linguistic meaning in the language, it has a clear connection to the Islamic meaning. Because in fasting, what do you stay away from? Eating and drinking and marital relations and anything else which nullifies your fast, right? So the linguistic meaning is to withhold and to abstain. As Maryam alayhi salam, she said, Inni nadartu lirrahmani sawma, that I made a vow to Allah that I will do a sawm. I will abstain, but she didn't mean abstaining from eating and drinking, she meant abstaining from talking to anyone. That's what the next ayah, فَلَنْ أُكَلِّمَ الْيَوْمَ إِنْسِيًّا. Okay, what's the Islamic meaning? So what's the Islamic concept of fasting? So that meaning we just gave was the meaning of the word in the Arabic language. What's the meaning of fasting Islamically when we talk about it? The ulama, they say it is worshipping Allah by withholding from food, drink and all that which breaks the fast from sunrise to sunset. So it is to worship Allah, meaning you do it sincerely for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. By what? Withstaining or withholding, so that's the meaning of fasting there, from food, drink and anything else which breaks the fast. So food and drink are the main things. You know, any of us, we think of fasting, what do you think of food and drink, right? But it's not only restricted to that, it's staying away from anything which nullifies the fast. You may ask what nullifies the fast. It will come inshallah. And what's the timing? From sunrise to sunset. From the beginning time of Fajr until Maghrib. Right. Now, I'm going to add a couple of extra things which are not in the book. Because fasting is mentioned a lot, and even the hadith, the Prophet says, وَصَوْمْ Ramadan, fast in the month of Ramadan. So we have other types of fasts which may be obligatory, which we're going to get to in a second as well. But when we talk about fasting as the pillar of Islam, it's referring to fasting in the month of Ramadan. So what's the meaning of Ramadan? The word Ramadan comes from the word Ramada, Ramim Dad, which means to burn. As the Islamic meaning of Ramadan, then it is which month? What number? 9. It's the 9th month in the lunar calendar. Yeah.
What does Ramadan mean?
I'm getting to it. So Ramadan linguistically from the word Ramada, which means to burn. And Islamically, when we say Ramadan, it's referring to the 9th month in the lunar calendar. As for why is it called Ramadan, then there are two opinions of ulama mentioned. The first, Imam Al-Qurtubi, he mentions, is that it's called Ramadan because the month of Ramadan is a month which burns away our sins by our righteous actions. Are you paying attention? Huh? What's your name? Are you paying attention, Qasim? What are you highlighting? We finished fasting meaning. We're on the meaning of Ramadan. So get a pen, highlight it away. Another what I'm saying. So Ramadan linguistically is from the word Ramadan, which means to burn, and it is Ramadan refers to the 9th month in the Islamic calendar. And the reason it's called Ramadan, the ulama mentioned two reasons. The first is that the month of Ramadan is a month which burns away our sins due to the righteous actions that we do. The second meaning mentioned is that when the month was given that name, it was a time where it was really hot. So much so that it's as though it's burning or it's scorching hot. So hence that name was given to Ramadan. And this is quite strong, because obviously the month of Ramadan was there before fasting, before Islam came and prescribed fasting in the month of Ramadan. Right, the next issue I want you to add is what's the ruling on fasting in Ramadan? So not only is it obligatory, but it's a pillar of Islam. which if a person rejects its obligation, then he's not a Muslim. If a person rejects the obligation, he's not a Muslim, because this is from those things which are known by necessity. Even non-Muslims know that you fast Ramadan. And the proofs for the obligation of Ramadan are many, from the Quran, Sunnah and Ijma', which is something which is known, so we don't need to go into that right now. The next issue is, what is the wisdom behind fasting in the month of Ramadan? What is the wisdom behind fasting in the month of Ramadan? Now, there are many wisdoms, but we need to start off with the primary wisdom. The primary wisdom is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said in the Quran, which is the famous ayah, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu kutiba alaykum as-siyam kama kutiba ala alladhina min qablikum la'allakum tattaqun. That all you who believe, fasting has been prescribed upon you, or made obligatory upon you, just as it has been made obligatory upon those before you. لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ, so that you can gain the taqwa of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the primary objective of fasting is to gain the taqwa of Allah, to gain the fear of Allah, the consciousness of Allah, to get closer to Allah. This is the primary, the main objective. Why? Because this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned. But there are also some secondary benefits also. There are also some secondary benefits also. And I'm going to send something inshallah. So I've written, I'm planning to write 2 books on fasting. I've written one which is a very small, short summary of the fiqh of fasting. I've written it, but I just need to revise it and so on. In there are some of the things that we're mentioning. Some of the extra points that I'm mentioning are written in there. It's not complete or anything, so it's just kind of in note form or something at the moment. But I'm going to screenshot those parts and send it in the group, inshallah, so that you guys can benefit from them. Bismillah. Okay, from those is this. So I've meant the ayah and everything is in there, inshallah. But what are some of the secondary benefits? Go on, what do you guys think? What are some of the secondary benefits of fasting in the month of Ramadan? What's the one that everyone says? Health benefits, okay. No, it comes under the obligations. You have to do it. But yeah, you could say that. You could say that for any act of worship, that you get the reward of fulfilling the command of following the sunnah.
Get us closer to Allah.
That's the first one. Taqwa. It can come under that.
Lose weight.
Health benefits. Hamza?
Abstain from sins. You're more aware.
Yeah, you're more further away from sins, but that can come under taqwa. So when you talk about gaining taqwa, the ulama talk about how do you gain taqwa in Ramadan. So one of the objectives is to attain taqwa. How do you attain taqwa in Ramadan? I mentioned different things. One of the things is that because there's a number of things that I mentioned. One is because you're staying away from things which are halal, like eating, drinking, relations with your spouse, and so on. It trains you to stay away from that which is haram. Another is generally a Muslim stays further away from sins. Another is generally a Muslim does more good deeds, recites Quran, prays Taraweeh, and so on. Another is in a hadith of Rasulullah, he mentions that shaitan travels through the veins of the sons of Adam. When you're fasting, those veins or those blood vessels and so on, they become narrower. So it makes it harder to shaitan to travel. That's also something I mentioned. So all of this comes under taqwa. But some other ones, Kabirul.
Preparing before the training.
It's a month that trains you for the rest of the year. So it shows us that we can recite Quran, we can pray Salah. So we should continue that afterwards. The reward is multiplied. Okay, now. Increase in shukr. There's one that everyone says, non-Muslim will say. You remember the poor. Remember the poor. Yeah? And the situation of the poor. Anything else? Gaining Laylatul Qadr.
Allows you to be more disciplined.
More disciplined for the rest of the year and so on. Similar. Anything else? Also, it brings Muslims together. Generally, you have a better relationship with the brothers in the masjid and so on.
Is
All these secondary. Okay, you're praying more, huh?
Controls your desires.
Controls your desires, comes under discipline, and so on. Okay, class, that's fine, inshallah. Right. The next issue is what are the virtues of fasting in Ramadan. Now, there are many. Now, the virtues are of two types, because there's virtues of fasting generally, then there are virtues of Ramadan. Okay? So there are many ahadith. These I'll send as well. So the very long hadith, and I've got the references and so on. I'll send them after the lesson, so you don't need to write them now. I'll just quickly read out the English translation of the hadith. So one hadith, the Prophet said that every good deed of son of Adam will be multiplied, a good deed receiving a tenfold to 700 folds reward. Allah the Exalted said, with the exception of fasting, for it is done for me, and I will give a reward for it. For one abandons his passion and food for my sake. There are two occasions of joy for the one who fasts, joy when he breaks it, and joy when he meets his Lord. And the breath of the one who is fasting is sweeter to Allah than the fragrance of musk. Another hadith, long hadith, but one of the doors of paradise that people will enter through is the door of fasting, and so on. And these are hadith you hear every single year. I'll send them into the group later on, inshallah. But the virtues of Ramadan fasting are generally a lot, and then there's more hadith that are regarding the virtues of fasting in the month of Ramadan specifically. Okay, now let's come back to what's in the book over here. Right, what are the pillars of fasting? The pillars of fasting are two: your intention and staying away from that which breaks your fast. Remember, pillars means these are the main things, which without the action will not be accepted. So what are the main actions of fasting? These two things. You have the intention that you're fasting, and then you just stay away from anything which breaks your fast. Your fast will be accepted, inshallah. So you have the intention, I'm fasting today. Then you don't eat, don't drink, don't have any relations, don't do anything which nullifies your fast. Maghrib time comes, you've done your fast. So these are the two main pillars of fasting. Now, the intention is split into two. Now, as you can see, where is the line coming out from? Intention or the other one? The other one, right. Why is that? Yeah, because in Arabic, the intention is here and withholding is from here, but when they've translated it, swapped it around, which they shouldn't have. But anyways, intention is of two types. So draw the line from intention. Intention for an obligatory fast and an intention for a recommended fast. Okay? Now, for the obligatory fast, and by the way, this is all written, so I don't need you guys to be writing, I just need you to be listening. The obligatory fast, your intention has to be made before the beginning of the fast. And generally say the night before. Night before means any time before Fajr. Yeah? So you have to make that intention. Now for Ramadan, you can make one intention in the beginning that I'm going to fast every single day this month, and that's fine. But it's not an issue. The fact that you wake up for suhoor, that's your intention. The intention is not an issue. The intention is not said out loud. Some people think you say it out loud. You don't say it out loud. Right? You sitting in this lesson, do you have to say, right, I am sitting in this lesson? You don't say it. Allah knows your intention, you just do it. Okay? So you do not say it out loud. I'm saying it out loud is an innovation because the Prophet and the Sahaba ﷺ never said it or never did it. Okay. Right. What about a fast which is not obligatory? How does the intention work? Again, you should say it before the day starts. But it is permissible for a person to make the intention any time during the day, as long as he's not done one of the nullifiers. Go on. Any time of the day means? Any time of the day means? So does it include after Dhuhr? Some of the ulama, the Hanabila and so on, they say before Dhuhr, because There's a hadith of Prophet ﷺ, when the Prophet ﷺ came to the house, the Prophet did not have the intention of fasting. He asked Aisha, what is there to eat? And she said, basically nothing. So the Prophet said, right, I'm fasting. The time that this happened is around about Dhuhr time. So some ulama have said, oh, so you can only make that intention for fasting before Dhuhr. The ulama say, right, where does the hadith restrict it to Dhuhr? There's no restriction. The Prophet did it at that time, but it doesn't restrict it to that time. Okay, the Prophet didn't say, right, after this time you can't do it. So you can make an intention any time. So if you wake up and let's say you've got busy or whatever, or you woke up late, whatever the case may be, and you say, you know what, there's only a few hours left, might as well just fast. And you've not eaten, you've not drunk, you've not done any of the other nullifiers, then that counts as a nafil fast. But your reward will only start from the time of the intention. Right? You're not going to, let's say Maghrib's at 4 o'clock, you've slept all the way, you've had a lie until Dhuhr. Or, some people may wake up after Dhuhr, right? And you're like, I woke up at 3 o'clock, there's only an hour left. Right? You know what? I'll fast. You're not going to get the reward for fasting for 12 hours, are you? Okay? You're going to get the reward for fasting for an hour, so you still get rewarded, and you still accepted, but your reward will not start from the same time compared to somebody who would do so. So if somebody says, if I make the 10 minutes for Maghrib, it would count. Yeah, if you've not done any of the nullifiers, it would count.
So winter and summer, the days are different then.
Yeah.
You get more reward for fasting on a day that's
Allah Alam. There's nothing narrated that says that when the day is longer there's more reward. Allah Alam. Right. Now somebody may say, okay, you've told us about the intention for an obligatory fast and a recommended fast. Which fasts are obligatory, which fasts are recommended? Now obviously the main obligatory fast which comes to everyone's head is the month of Ramadan. But there are other types of obligatory fast. One is expiation, kafara. A kafara is there are certain actions which in Islam, so if you do a sin, generally what does the person have to do? Tawbah. If that sin is relating to somebody's right, you've stolen somebody's money, then what do you have to do? You have to return that right, you have to return that money if you're able to do so. Yeah. Then there are other actions where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has specifically legislated an expiation. An expiation means that for you to be forgiven for this action, not only you have to do tawbah, there are certain actions you have to do with it as well. Right? So for example, something close to it, but just because we've studied it, I can give you this example, is the fidyatul adha. So you do any of those prohibitions, which aren't of the other three types, then you either fast, how many days? 3 days. Or you slaughter all you feed, yeah? Now these kafarat are of different types. These expiations are different types. Some of them, you have a choice. Either this or that or that. And some of them, you don't have a choice. It has to be in order. Like the one we're going to take, the one that we're going to take on fasting. Alright, there's not a choice. Meaning, there's 3 things that you do. You have to go in order. You have to do the first one. If you can't do the first one, then you move to the second. And if you can't do the second, then you move to the third. Okay? So you don't move to the third one straight away. You only do that if you can't do the others. And then there are some kafarat which has a mixture. That there's an order and so depending which step you're at, either there's an order or there's a choice. So there's one, I can't remember which one it is, but there's an order. If you can't do it, then I think the last step you get to choose from a few things. Okay, so that's what expiation basically means. And then there are vows. Vows that you say, Wallahi, I'm fasting tomorrow. You made the obligatory upon yourself to fast tomorrow. Okay, right. Then recommended is everything else. Recommended is everything else. Right. Next issue, what are the conditions for the obligation of fasting? Alright. Now, there are 6 conditions. SubhanAllah, once I did a lecture on the fiqh of fasting, it was about an hour long. Most of it, if not like 3/4 of it, was just based upon these 6 conditions. All I had to do was memorize the 6 conditions, and I could do the whole lecture. Okay? And only extra things I had to add were the points that I mentioned to you. And those points, it comes all the time, so it's not too difficult. Yeah. So let's quickly go through this, inshallah. The first is Islam, you have to be a Muslim, which is straightforward. The second is aql, sanity, we've taken that before. The third is puberty. Okay? As for the child, then we talked about this before, yeah? The mumayyiz, when is it accepted, when is it not accepted. And obviously you should encourage them so that they get used to it. The fourth is that you're not traveling. You are not traveling. You're a resident. Meaning if you are traveling, it's not obligatory upon you to fast. If you're not traveling, it's not obligatory. If you're traveling, it's not obligatory for you to fast. If you're traveling, it's not obligatory for you to fast. Is it better for you to fast or not? We're going to get to in a second. That should you? It's not obligatory, but can you or can you not? Is it better not to? I'll come back to it. The fifth is good health. You're not ill, basically. Yeah, you have the ability, physical ability to do so. And number 6, you're not in menses or postnatal bleeding. Right. Some of these I want to comment on. Right. So, but firstly, what are the 6? Islam, sanity, puberty, not traveling, good health, and for women, not under menses or postnatal bleeding. So if a woman, even if she starts the day not bleeding and she bleeds throughout the day, she starts as menses during the day, that fast won't count and she'll have to make that one up later. Right. Not traveling. So we just mentioned to you that if you are traveling, it's not obligatory to fast. But is it better or not? Okay. The general principle, and even for good health as well, like if you're even if you're ill, and if you're ill, general principle, if it's easy for you to fast, then fast. Basically, do what's easy. The general principle is do what's easy. If it's easy for you to fast, fast. Why? Because we're gonna get to some of the hadith and stuff as well. But even logically, it's quicker for the obligation to be removed. You don't have to think about it later. And it's easier because everyone's fasting in that month. And you're already used to the routine of waking up and so on. Right? Some people have only 1 or 2 fasts to make up from Ramadan. Until now, they're probably still not made up. Right? It just gets difficult. As soon as the Eid comes, you start eating again, khalas. The samosa and the pakore just destroys everyone, huh? Right. Now, there is a bit more detail to it. Okay, and basically what I've said is what it said here. Look, it is not obligatory upon the traveler. It is better to fast as long as it's not difficult, since the Prophet did it. It is quicker in fulfilling the obligation, easier, and acquires the virtues of the month. And the third reason is that you get the reward of fasting in the month of Ramadan. Yeah. Now, there's a bit more detail to it. Now, again, this you don't have to write down. I will send it in the group, inshallah. Okay. There are 4. If you want more detail, then there are 4 situations. Again, I've written it out, so don't write it out now because I don't want you guys focusing on writing. I just want you to focus on me so I can say it quickly and we can move on. Okay, but there are different ahadith as well. So there are some ahadith where the Prophet ﷺ fasted when he was traveling. Then the other ahadith, the Prophet ﷺ saw other people fasting and he said, أُولَٰئِكَ الْعُصَاةِ, these people are sinning. Another hadith, لَيْسَ مِنَ الْبِرِّ الصِّيَامُ فِي السَّفَرِ, it's not from righteousness to fast while traveling. So you can see Prophet is doing it, then he's telling other people not to do it, and so on. So how do we combine? We combine like this, right? We say, if fasting and not fasting, Hamza, pen down. If fasting and not fasting are the same, like it doesn't make a difference to a person, then what should they do? They should fast. If fasting is easier, then they should fast. If fasting is difficult for him, like it's just difficult, then he should not fast. It's makruh for him to fast. It's disliked. Because Allah has given him, Allah has allowed him to make it easy. Allah has given him a concession. In the hadith, Allah loves when you take his concession. However, if it's harming the person by him fasting, then it's haram. Then it's not allowed to fast. If it's causing you harm. So you know something, you're traveling, you get sick, you get whatever the case may be. If it's like that, then it's not allowed for you to fast. Okay. Right. What about if you're ill? Same thing. Right? If there's no harm, if obviously the illness is very slight, you got a minor headache, that doesn't count. Okay, you're actually ill, but you are able to fast, and you fasting and not fasting is the same, then you should fast. If there is difficulty in you fasting, okay, then it's same as makruh, and if it harms you, either makes you ill or it's going to make the time for you to get cured longer, it's going to make you more ill, then it's not allowed for you to fast. Okay? So, as you can see, if you can't remember the different types, all written down, I will send it. Then, just remember, if it's easy for you to fast, fast. If it's not easy, then you shouldn't fast. And if it's harming you, it's not allowed to fast. Okay? Okay, what about a woman who's on her menstrual cycle? We just mentioned that. Okay, we got another one, which is a woman who's pregnant or breastfeeding. If a woman is pregnant or she is breastfeeding, and if there is harm to her or her child by fasting, then she doesn't have to fast. She doesn't have to fast. There is some khilaf, and this one I'm not sure now, because like I said, this was like summarized. I didn't go into khilaf, but this point you can write down if you want and add it onto the notes later. If the harm is upon the child only, if the harm is upon the child only and not upon her, yeah. If it's on her, if the harm is only for the child and not her, then some ulama say that not only they say that she's excused from fasting, okay, but instead of only having to make it up, she also has to feed a poor person for that day. So if the fear is for herself or for herself and the child, then she doesn't have to fast, and all she does is make it up one day, just like normal. The only khilaf is if the fear is for harm for the child, not for herself, not upon herself. Then some ulama have said that she makes it up, and an extra thing she should do for this particular scenario is feed a poor person. Now, what seems to be stronger is that she doesn't have to. However, Ibn Uthaymin rahimahullah said it's better that she still does. That's if the harm is for the child only. Okay, so Qasim, if the harm is for herself,
then she doesn't have to fast until make that fast.
just you have to feed anyone.
She has to feed the poor person.
If she fears for herself,
Oh,
then
she has to feed the poor person. Oh.
okay. So I think it's young kids understand. Right, Hamza. So the pregnant woman, by her fasting, it's gonna harm her health, and it's gonna harm the baby as well. Then both.
She doesn't have to fast, and she still has to feed the poor person.
That day she doesn't have to fast, so you just have to make you up, and then does she have to feed the poor person? No. Look, there's gonna be either three scenarios. Either the fear is upon herself only, either it's on herself and the baby or the fetus, or it's just on the fetus. Out of these three scenarios, which is the one where there's a bit of khilaf, and we say that she doesn't have to, but it's better if she feeds, if the fear is only for the child. Yes?
Is this for pregnant or is it pregnant and breastfeeding?
Pregnant and breastfeeding. Okay. Okay, right. Yusuf, the woman who's breastfeeding, if she fasts, it's going to harm her. Okay, because obviously the child is feeding, and if she's fasting and she's not taking the nutrients and so on, it won't produce milk, and she'll basically feel fatigue and so on, right? So it's going to harm her, but not the child in this particular scenario. Does she have to fast that day? Does she have to make it up for that day? She has to make it up. Does she have to feed a poor person for that day? It's harming her only. Only her. The child's fine. Then she doesn't. Good. If it's harming, okay, it's harming her and it's harming the child, then come on. Yeah.
What are the three scenarios?
The three scenarios are Either it's going to harm just her, just the mum. The second scenario is going to harm the mum and the child. The third scenario, only the child. It's only the third when it's only the kid. Because look, if it's her, it's going to harm her. She'll come under the one who's sick. And the one who's sick doesn't have to. You become sick, what do?
You leave the fast.
And you make it up later, that's it. You have to feed anyone?
No.
No, right. But because when it's only the child, it's only the kid, right? Now she's leaving off fasting, not for herself, for somebody else. So the reasoning is completely different now. The reasoning for her leaving it off, it's not because she's ill, it's for somebody else. So because, see, remember it like that, it's a different scenario. Musa. Okay, what's your question?
So you left the child's ill. Why does she have the excuse not to fast?
When you talk about child, how old is this child, do you think?
2-3 years old.
No, I think he doesn't know how it works. Right, breastfeeding, when a child is born, for the first generally 2 years, the baby, is like this big, or this big, depending on the baby, is breastfed, meaning it doesn't eat a burger meal like you eat a burger meal. Right, what does it have? It has milk. Okay? Right. Where's it getting that milk from? From the mum. Right. Now, if the mum is not eating herself, she won't be producing that milk. If she's not producing milk, then the kid's not getting anything to eat. So who's being harmed now? If your mum didn't cook you food at home, right? But she cooked herself food, she's gonna be alright, innit? Yeah. Who's gonna be starving? Who's gonna be hungry? You, right? Okay. So you understand?
Yeah.
So the woman fasting, whether she's pregnant or breastfeeding, it can have an effect on the child. Okay, not always. That's why some scenarios will say, look, go check from your doctor, can you fast or should you fast or not? You could do that before as well. Okay. No, no. If a woman decides that she wants to breastfeed and that's how she wants it to go, then it's fine. It's not a condition that, okay, during month of Ramadan you can't breastfeed whatsoever and you have to do this. No. Yeah.
How do you free a slave?
In this day and age, there's no slaves, so don't worry about it. You don't have to. Where's that question come from? We've not reached that part yet. Are you reading ahead?
No, I was just asking.
All right. Yeah.
In the other ones, should intentionally Hajj tradition.
But the one traveling, is a trip necessary?
It's not if you can go on the trip after Ramadan, but
Okay. It's not about when you look. If you go and you need to travel for whatever reason it is, yeah, it's fine. As long as you're not traveling for the sake of not fasting. Like, you know what? It's Ramadan, I can't bother fasting. Let's go Pakistan, right? That's not allowed. But let's say you've planned it right. These are the days, these are cheap options, or these are the holidays, I want to travel. That's fine. That comes to the issue, who is considered a traveler and who is not considered a traveler. That we'll study in books of fiqh later. But generally, as long as you consider yourself a traveler, you're a traveler. Yeah, some ulama have specified a day, but Allah Alam seems to be stronger to me is that as long as you consider yourself a traveler. Sometimes you go somewhere for a week, but it's not your home. You get treated like a traveler. You don't know where things are. You have to ask people to do stuff. So you're still a traveler. As for 4 days, there's no like clear-cut hadith. The Prophet didn't say it's 4 days. They try to extract it. But there's a principle. Anything which the Sharia has not specifically like specified, like Prophet said, there are 5 daily prayers, right? Plus 5. Right, we don't say 4. We don't. Anything which the Sharia has not specified, it goes back to the custom. So whatever customarily is considered a traveler, khalas, you're a traveler, inshallah. The same goes for how far as well. Right? So some ulama have given like a distance, but again there's no like, there are some statements of Ibn Abbas and so on, but generally there's no clear like hadith from Prophet and so on. So as long as you consider yourself a traveler, then you're a traveler. So for example, here to Dewsbury you wouldn't be a traveler, but if you go to London, yeah. Okay? Right, anyways, so back to these 6 conditions. right? Islam, sanity, puberty, not traveling, good health, and not being in menses and postnatal bleeding. You guys have understood you understood the details, right? And like I said, all the detail I'll send in the group later tonight, inshallah. I think I've sent you something else to check as well. You can check now. So I'll send that later. The only part which I didn't write is that in the scenario, if the pregnant woman, the breastfeeding woman fears for the child, then some ulama have said that you should also feed the poor person. But like I said, what's strong is that you don't have to. Ibn Uthaymeen said it's better if you still do it. Okay. What time is it? 25. Oh, we've got time. Right. Just another extra point regarding the one who is sick is how to make it up. And it's linked to like the breastfeeding and the pregnant woman as well. Basically, the sickness is of two types. Now, we're not talking about do you have to fast or not. We're going to talk now, how do you make up that fast? Okay? How does a ill person make up that fast? If it's a temporary illness, i.e. you know, generally, obviously only Allah knows the future, and only Allah cures and so on, but generally, you know that it's a temporary illness and you'll get better. You've got a cold, you know that generally it takes a week, takes a few days, you'll get better. When you get better, you'll make it up. Okay? You've gotten into a football injury, right? And the doctors told you, right, for 2 weeks you have to eat. After that, you can fast after 2 weeks or whatever. You know, right, generally, 2 weeks after that, I'll be alright. Qadr Allah may not happen, maybe 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks, but you know that generally, the norms of the people is that it's a temporary illness. What do you do in that case? Have a guess what you do? You just make it up. That just normally. You're ill, you get better, you make it up. Right, the problem comes when a person has a terminal illness, i.e. an illness where normally you're not going to get better. Okay? Whether it's a terminal illness like some sort of cancer or somebody's really old in age because you're not going to get younger. Right? Then what does the person do then? Because he's not going to get better, that means he's not going to get that opportunity to fast and make up that fast. What he does is for every single day that you can't fast, you feed a poor person. That's why your grandparents, that's what they probably do. Right? Probably got to that age where they can't fast. So do we say to them, right, wait until you get better? No, because they're going to get older, they're not going to get younger. But for every day that they don't fast, they feed a poor person. Okay? And it is permissible for you to just at the end of the month get 30 poor people together, like Anas radiallahu anhu, that's what he used to do. End of the month, just get 30 poor people together and feed them all in one go. Yeah.
Let's say you're fasting and then you know like halfway through you got diabetes or something. It's not gonna get
If during the fast you become ill, then obviously you don't have to fast that day. Then it goes back to what type of illness is this. If it's a terminal illness, then whatever example you give me, work it out. Is it temporary or terminal? Okay, if it's terminal, like you're not going to get better and there's no way that you can ever fast in the future, then yeah. Okay, because you're not completed that day, so you still have to go. You have to, that day is included. If you can't afford. No, you don't give zakat. No, the zakat is not given for this. I'm not sure if you can't afford it. I'm not sure. It's not a lot. It's just they mentioned the amount here, which is a sa'a and stuff. We basically give them a meal. How much is a meal? £5? That's it. Yeah, £5, £10, whatever it is. It's written there, but whatever it suffices them for that day. Is it allowed to donate to an organization or somebody else like a masjid to do it? It's permissible. So you are allowed to pay somebody and they will feed somebody on your behalf, that's fine. So you may give it, so sometimes the masjid will collect, even we're going to get to zakat al-fitr and so on, same thing, that's what we do, right? Do we go out and give, because zakat al-fitr is meant to be given in food, not money. But what do? We give money to the masjid or to an organization, to a charity, right? That charity, and you should always ask, they will go and buy the food and give that food to the poor people. That's fine. Okay? Right. How is the beginning of the month of Ramadan confirmed? 2 ways. Either you see the moon of Ramadan, the crescent of Ramadan, or completing Sha'ban 30 days. So basically, the 29th night, if you can't see the moon, then you don't fast, and Sha'ban is 30, and then Ramadan is the day after. What do you do if it's cloudy and you can't see the moon? That whole night is not cleared. What do you do? So that 30th now, Should he fast that day or no? Should he fast just to be sure? Because you know what, we couldn't see it. It could have been. What's so funny? Huh? You don't fast that day, because the Prophet said that this day is known as Yom al-Shak, the day of doubt. The Prophet or one of the Sahaba said that whoever fasts the day of Shak, then he has فَقَدْ عَصَى أَبَا الْقَاسِمِ, he has disobeyed the Prophet ﷺ. So show the Prophet didn't allow people to fast that day. So you don't fast that day. No. Right. What breaks the fast? We'll continue from here. Next lesson. Inshallah. Just one thing which I do want to mention is when it came to the condition of having good health, what about students that have exams and they're stressed? Who cares about them? Huh? Yeah, you could faint. Right. If you end up fainting, then obviously you're excused. Then not because you've got an exam, because you come under the person who's ill. Okay? Otherwise, an exam is not an excuse. The Sahaba radiallahu anhum, they partook in battles in Ramadan. And I've got a few battles here. So for example, we have Badr took place on the 17th of Ramadan, in the second year of Hijrah. Then the conquest of Mecca took place in the 10th of Ramadan, in the 8th year. Ma'raka al-Qadisiyah, which is another battle, took place in Ramadan, in the 15th of Ramadan. Conquering Andalus, Spain, took place in Ramadan, which took place in the 92nd year of the Hijrah. And there are other battles as well. The point is that the Salaf, they used to do battles in Ramadan. An exam is nothing, okay? Right. So inshallah. Oh, this I got in Arabic. Khalas, right, I'll translate it and I'll send it in Arabic, inshallah. In English, inshallah. Okay. Right, so make sure you guys revise. Remember the Hajj question. I'm going to test you guys on the Hajj question. All of you should be able to explain the whole of Hajj from beginning till end from memory, okay? And we're going to start same time, 7:55. Make sure you're on time because we need that time. I want to finish fasting next lesson, inshallah, okay? Right, subhanakallah wa hamdaka ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Riyadh, your question, text me. Your question, text me as well. Your question, text me.